Hey everyone, hopefully you're all doing well out there today. Today we'll be looking at a sighting in British Columbia from 1977. It's a really good one, one that I thought was quite unique. It's different from some of the other sightings. So get your favorite cup of tea or a cup of coffee or a beer and we'll have a look at this sighting. Hopefully everybody's doing well out there today. So this sighting is in BC, as I said, in British Columbia, Canada, and it's located in the Fraser Valley, which isn't really that far from Vancouver. You think of, here's Vancouver, the city, and let's see how far that is from Vancouver. 50 miles. But you're getting into the Rocky Mountains, so it's just by Chilliwack, BC. And what we're looking at is the GIS Bigfoot Answers map. And this sighting was reported by a Patreon member. And when you become a member of either the Patreon channel or the YouTube channel, you get access to plot your sighting on a map. But this was a sighting that was reported in several newspapers. The member put this information in, and I really enjoyed receiving this report. It's very interesting. So let's zoom in. And on this map, you can change the background. Right now, we have the topographic map background, but you can change it to imagery. So you have satellite imagery. The red dots represent the sightings. You have streets at night, which is a black background with the roads as blue. So we'll switch back to the topographic map. And the occurrence happened on Highway 7 near Rock Lake. There's the lake and there's the highway. 1977, May 17th. It was reported in several newspapers. Bus passengers see a furry, upright creature over 300 pounds, dark brown or black, and about 7 feet tall lumber across the highway. Pacific Stage Line's bus company driver was the main witness, along with other passengers. This was reported to the RCMP Police, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. The bus driver slammed on the brakes and he stopped. He smelled something like terrible rotten meat. The brush was thick and pushed apart where the animal went through. It had flared nostrils like a monkey and big wide eyes. It had a wide chest as it looked at the bus driver. The skin underneath the hair looked white. Police say passenger statements match the bus drivers, and they are taking the issue seriously. Police located footprints 14 inches long by 8 inches wide on a sandy creek bottom nearby. The account was reported in several newspapers. So, assuming, maybe it happened down here. So you got the Canadian Pacific Railroad as well as the main highway, and let's just have a measure to see how far the lake would have been. So yeah, 200 feet away. And it doesn't look like there's anything to the west, maybe mountains. So you got mountains, the highway, the railway, and then the lake, and maybe some small residential subdivision on the lake. Quite mountainous over here, Harrison Hill. So it looks like the start of the Rocky Mountains. All right, let's have a look at this in Google Maps. So we're looking at this in Google Maps. We'll look at Google Street View. Fraser Valley, Rock Lake. Beautiful. Oh, look at the mountains. Very nice. Yeah, you could easily see how you see a squatch zipping in front of the bus and into the woods. But they did get enough time to have a look at this animal, or creature, or whatever you want to call it. Over 7 feet tall, over 300 pounds, dark brown to black, big nostrils and big dark eyes. Opens up to Harrison Bay and Harrison River. Oh, look at this. Sasquatch Inn. What's that all about? Let's have a look at this Sasquatch Inn. It's a 2-star motel. Good rating, though. Almost 1,500 ratings, and it's got a 4.3 out of 5. Sasquatch Inn, just north of the sighting. Maybe it has something to do with the sighting. Very interesting. Oh, it's got 659 photos. We won't have a look at all of those, but oh, look, quite nice. Oh, wow. Very nice. Nice patio. Oh, look at the front. It's like a small Great Wolf Lodge. Oh, look, Sasquatch Inn. The footprint and established in 1936. So this was 40 years before. Oh, look, 40 years before the sighting. This is only up the road. This is just up the road from where the sighting took place. Sasquatch Inn, they've got vacancies. But look at that. Look at that logo and that sign. Looks really cool. Another Sasquatch there. Looks like some good food there. Some good sandwiches. The beer, nice beer, yeah. I could always go for one of those. Some native art. That's the Sasquatch Inn. Let's go back. Let's go back and see if there's any other sightings in and around this area. We're just having a quick look at the BFRO map, so bfro.net. So the sighting we're looking at today from 1977, Iraq Lake is one just up the road, same highway. Newspaper article, Fresno Bee, University of California students plan expedition to BC. Okay. And further up the highway again, October 2004, couple hears back and forth vocalizations between 5 and 6 a.m. where the Harrison and the Chehalis rivers join. So that's not far away. And these are just reports to the BFRO. There's another one, November 2003, unusual call, silenced the coyotes and frightened the dog. Yeah, so a lot of reports haven't been provided to the BFRO in Canada. There's very few. I wouldn't say very few, but there's definitely less reports. Possible knocking heard by hikers in the Chilliwack Valley. That's March 2006. June 2008, campers describe possible vocalizations and a possible track in Chilliwack Lake Provincial Park. Well, there you have it, guys. That's a pretty interesting sighting, and it was reported to the RCMP, the Canadian Police, and it was reported in several newspapers. So pretty exciting stuff. Hopefully you're having a good day out there today, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of GIS Bigfoot Answers. Today we'll be looking at some requests from viewers, and the first one comes from a viewer who's interested in the Austin, Texas area, and they specifically asked about the Balcones Canyonland Preserve and if there's any sightings in and around that area. So we'll zoom into that area and we will search on the Balcones Canyonlands Preserve. There we have it. We found it. And I do have the USA Parks layer on. It looks like it's located here just west of Austin, Texas. Click on that. And it's the Balcones Canyonlands Preserve. It's like almost 30 square miles. Yeah, 30 square miles in area. Quite fragmented, which means it's not one big block. It's several fragmented pieces. But anyway, well, it doesn't look like there's any sightings here directly. There's the National Wildlife Refuge and the Canyonlands Preserve. Specifically, the viewer asked about the Balcones Canyonland Preserve, but there's also the National Wildlife Refuge, which is also fragmented. You can see it's not one big block, like this would be a one big block down here. The sightings are in red, they're red dots, and A indicates that that's a visual sighting. So let's see how far away that would be from the National Wildlife Refuge. It's 14 kilometers away, so about 10 miles away. Let's click on that and see what it comes up with. It's the BFRO report. Report 8530. Two men see unknown bipedal animal running across road near the Pedernales River. Hopefully I've pronounced that right, the Pedernales River. And let's zoom in on this. So if we zoom in, you can see there's a state highway going across this Pedernales River, which actually does connect up with another river further north, which does flow towards these preserves, and the National Wildlife Refuge. And actually, over closer to Austin, Texas, these preserves are right on the river. So there you go. There's access to water to sustain life, and potentially maybe a corridor for a Bigfoot to move. And let's see if there's any other corridors. As you can see, yeah, the woodlands, riparian zones along some of these watercourses, along some of these streams that are weaving in and out of residential homes, residential neighborhoods, and maybe some industrial lands. You could see how an animal could easily move along those watercourses, the rivers and the streams, to larger protected areas, such as these preserves and national wildlife refuges. And this is in Travis County, Burnett County. So if you go to the bfro.net and look up report 8530, you will be able to see that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to have a closer look at this sighting location in Google Maps. So what I'm doing, I'm taking this XY coordinate that I've got from the query. That's the XY coordinate of that point, Google Maps. And here it is right here. So it's a similar aerial photography as in the ArcGIS Pro. Let's see if there's any Google Street View here. And there is. Again, this is just west of Austin, Texas. This is the State Highway. It's State Highway 71. So you can't really see much here. I mean, but this looks like down in the valley below, you could see how that vegetation could provide cover for an animal to move about. Let's have a look at the bridge. Maybe we'll get a view of the river. Oh yeah, there's the river there. You can see vegetation cover. And it's funny how these buildings are here. If anybody knows what all these buildings are scattered along the waterfront, I assume they're for your boats, and maybe they're boat houses. But yeah, if people know what those are, please comment down below. And yeah, so that's a view of the Pedernales River, Pedernales. I'm not really sure how you pronounce that. Hopefully I'm close. You can see how this vegetation does follow the water courses and the streams and the rivers. And there definitely would be some shoreline for a Bigfoot to traverse and quite easily move along between wooded areas and between those the National Refuge and the preserve. There you go. That's our first one we're going to look at. And we're going to look at some other ones in Texas shortly. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, please subscribe to the channel. And we also have some a membership available to this channel, so you can pay and you can submit your sightings using an application that will then be plotted on our map. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye. Hey everyone, hopefully you're all doing well out there today. And what we're showing is the GIS Bigfoot Answers Encounters map. So this is the Patreon members map, and you can see that the map is being populated with some encounters from our members. So I thank you for that. So I just want to show a couple of, or let's just show one today, just one encounter, and it's in Fresno County, California. It's at Avocado Lake. And there's the Sierra Nevada mountains, the bottom of these mountains, close to Fresno, California. Yeah, so you just zoom in on the map. It actually, yeah, let's have a look at some of these tools on the map. So we got the zoom in and zoom out. Got the home button, will take you back to the original start. And you've got a GPS. If you were using this on a phone, you could click on My Location. It would show you GPS. You got back and forth. You can type in an address or a place, and that will do the geolocation for you. We've got measure tools, so you get access to this map when you join the Patreon channel. We've got base maps that you can switch back and forth, so you can go between satellite imagery and other base maps like the topographic base map, the gray canvas, light gray canvas map. We've got streets at night. The topographic is what we were using previously, but because it's got the terrain and it's got watercourses, lakes, and roads on. So quite useful for looking at some of these Sasquatch encounters that have been reported. So we're looking at Avocado Lake, yeah. So I'm going to click on this, and what you get is the date of the encounter, the closest location, and the encounter type, and a bit of description. But you can also upload photographs and any audio. Let's say you got a wood knock, or maybe you got a Bigfoot howl. You can upload that too, and that would be available to the other members of the Patreon channel. A farmer witnesses 5 to 6 Bigfoots on his farm in the middle of the night, one with a pig over its shoulder. It tripped over an irrigation pipe. The pig flew over too. Other families in this area have witnessed Bigfoot over the years. Oh, pretty cool. So that's great. Thanks for that submission. And again, obviously, there's no name associated with that. When you do submit, we do ask for a name and an email, but those are not populated in this map. Yeah, let's have a look at this Avocado Lake. I've searched on the name of this in California, and we're going to look at the Google Street View. First of all, let's have a look at the satellite imagery. So farms, this was a farmer that saw these 5 to 6 Bigfoots, and one was helping himself to a pig and making a run for it. So maybe they were going to have a big dinner, the 5 to 6 Sasquatches. So yeah, so it looks like some farms down here, maybe some kind of like fruit farming, maybe, I would say. But I would guess that these are some kind of fruit. So it looks like there's a park, Avocado Lake Park. Let's click on that. See what photos we've got. There's 253 photos. Let's have a look at this. So it looks like a small pond, really, with there's hills in the background. There's the river. It looks like a river flowing in and out, and some hills around it. Beautiful. Wow, really, really nice. Looks like a good spot for fishing and probably kayaking and canoeing, swimming. There's a good view. Wow, looks really nice. So there's a very nice park. So let's just close out of that and we'll go to the Google Street View, see what we can see. So this, I'm assuming that the sighting was down here on these along these farmlands, anywhere around this lake. There you see the highway passing through the farmlands. Over on the east side, and then there's the park and the lake over to the west. It looks like to the north there's some hills. Yeah, and there's the river, like a river or the pond right there. And maybe the start of these mountains. There you have it. I mean, it could be easily accessed by Bigfoot, helping himself to the pigs and some of the farmers' crops, maybe some fruit, heading off into the hills to have a supper. So there you go. There's a great encounter. And yeah, please subscribe to the channel and please join our Patreon channel and submit your encounters. Thank you. Hey everyone, happy Easter to you all out there today. Today what we'll be looking at is an encounter in California, and it's based on a YouTube video that somebody mapped out the location. This occurs in the Marble Mountains, and it's pretty close to the Patterson-Gimlin film. Let's just measure how far apart they are. The location of the video and the story is there, near Greenview, California, and the Patterson-Gimlin film close to Orleans, California. So that was in 1967. And if anybody doesn't know about that movie, or that film, you can look that up. But if you're here, you've heard about it. 30 miles, 33 miles apart. So one of the most famous Bigfoot films is 33 Miles Away, and that was in 1967. The one we're looking at today occurred in 2001. A group of youths, led by an adult, out hiking, find a Bigfoot nest. The nest is made of evergreen brush and limbs that have been snapped, not cut. Trees around the nest appear to have been scratched. The group then sees a figure on the mountain ridge above them. They video the figure for several minutes as it paces back and forth angrily and appears to shake his fist at them. The figure appears to have long arms hanging almost to its knees. Actually, almost below the knees if you watch the video. And there is a link to the video. Just have a look at the map. See how we're doing? The map is growing in sightings. So over 30 sightings. California's got 4. Ontario's still at 6. Utah's got 3. They're well spread out across the US and Canada. But let's keep these maps going, and let's keep these encounters going, and you can either join on the Patreon channel or you can have a membership, a YouTube membership, and you'll have access to the application to enter in your encounter information, which will then be projected on this map. So let's zoom in and have a look. So it's the Marble Mountains. Have a look at the satellite imagery. So wooded, forested areas with bare earth, some rocky areas. So there is coverage for Bigfoot to hide, but then when the Bigfoot comes out of wooded areas, they would be exposed. And that's what happens in this video, assuming it's a Bigfoot. The nest that the kids found, it sure looks like a nest that Bigfoot would live in. If Bigfoot does exist, it would be something that you could see a Bigfoot living in. And of course, there's water, which is required for all life. Lots of little lakes scattered throughout these mountains in the basins. You see the various trails and see the water adjacent to these trails. Let's have a look at this video just for a brief moment so you can get a feel of what I'm talking about.
It's like right on the other side of it.
No, it stopped and looking at us.
It's kind of looking at us.
I don't see it.
Moving now.
The trees? It's to the right of them. It's walking that way.
What tree?
Trees? Okay. See that King's Castle?
Yeah. He's that
on that
kind
hill.
of little skinny thing.
That little thing.
Oh, it's him.
Yeah. On the
right now. See?
Oh yeah, he's walking down.
See, he's between the
I mean, that could easily be a person.
Yeah. Where? Dang it! He must
Two
have.
trees to the left of King's Castle.
See how long the arms are.
See King's Castle?
Yeah.
He's,
In this
he's
part of the
shaking his
video.
fist at us.
He's right in between the two trees right now. The
He's
two trees.
screaming at us something. Get out of my
Probably looking
camp.
at us as
Get
much
out
as
of
we're
my
looking at him.
camp.
He's probably saying, "Hey, there's 15 Bigfoots down there."
Well, I don't know about that, but anyway,
He's
the arms look
jumping
quite
up
long
and
there.
down.
So let's have a look at the Marble Mountains, see if there's any Google Street View. I don't think there's any streets there, but let's have a look, see what we can find. And as you can see, Portland to the north looks like halfway between Portland and San Francisco. And Greenview, California seems to be the closest town. Let's see what we find. No street view, but there might be a photograph. Oh yeah, this is a good reflection of, looks like as I described, forested areas with rocky outcrops and bare earth. Enough forest to provide habitat and protection for a Bigfoot. Well, and there you see some water, which will provide drinking water for life. Okay, let's see if there's any other photographs. There's another one. And it looks like some trees that might have been in a forest fire or they've died off anyway. And another, you can see these ponds that are located amongst the mountains. There'll be fresh water Cool, cold, freshwater ponds. Beautiful. And this is kind of like where in the video you see the Bigfoot walking on the mountain ridge. Let's see if there's any more photos. I believe there was. Oh, wow, look at that. How clear the water is again. That's just beautiful. Very nice. So you can see why people do visit this area. You've got a rock outcrop and a beautiful lake surrounded by forested areas and mountains. You know, if you're interested in joining our channel and being a supporter, you can do that through Patreon, or you can be a member, and that's just on through memberships in YouTube, and that is being approved right now. So I'm just waiting for that. So thanks for all your support, everybody, and let me know what you think about this sighting. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of GIS Bigfoot Answers. Today we will be looking at a sighting in California, and it's from way back 1964. It's in a newspaper article in Santa Cruz, the Santa Cruz newspaper. What it is, a guy was woken up at 4 a.m. at his house, and he went out and looked out the back window. The windows were rattling, and looked out and he saw a Bigfoot throwing trees into the river behind the house. The cops were called, but no, they didn't find any evidence of any Sasquatch or Bigfoot. So we're just gonna have a quick look at this area. It's probably changed a lot since 1964, but let's have a look. It's in Glen Arbor Road is the name of the road, but the name of the town or the city is Ben Lomond. It's the San Lorenzo River, basically the intersection of Glen Arbor Road and San Lorenzo River. So let's have a look at this intersection. So it looks like quite a residential area, but as you can see, there's like huge, massive trees. There's the river in there. Obviously, this is a bridge, so we can't really see too much there. Let's see if there's another intersection of the two. Let's have a look at the satellite imagery. Yeah, you can see, wow, look at this. You can see the river coming through here. There's the Glen Arbor Road. Perhaps some of these subdivisions weren't built at the time. Maybe they just had, some of these houses on the Glen Arbor Road backed onto the creek. But look how wooded it is. Even though it's a residential neighborhood, it's a town. But look at the forest. It's really amazing, really awesome. California is so beautiful. So let's have a look here. There's an intersection of looks like the Glen Arbor Road. Maybe we can see this. It's a small bridge, really. Well, there you can see how the water course, this San Lorenzo River, it's really a small stream, backs, it winds between the residential houses and just little small bridges between. But hey, if I'm a Bigfoot, I'll be traveling along that water course, and that's something they're famous for. That's where a lot of the sightings are, along close to water courses. So yeah, I mean, totally possible that this happened. And as I said, I mean, you go into this it looks like a town. Look at there's some hills there that are really, really got some dense forest. And even within the town, there's some bigger trees. Very, very awesome, really beautiful place by the look of it. So that's where there was a sighting in 1964. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of GIS Bigfoot Answers. Today we're going to be looking at something totally cool. It's like some reports that go back to the 1890s. So this will be really interesting, and they take place in Kansas, the state of Kansas, in Topeka. Why don't you get a cup of tea or a coffee or a pop and some cookies, and we'll settle down and we'll look into these sightings because they're really interesting, and they come from a viewer who submitted through the membership. It's $5 a month to be a member, and you can submit your sightings that will be featured on the GIS Bigfoot Answers Encounter app. So you can be a member through the YouTube channel, or you can be a member through the Patreon application. And there's links provided to those if you want to support the channel. You don't have to provide your name or any details, any personal information. You can just submit your report, or you can just have access to this map as well, and just to have a nose about and read some of the encounters and view them spatially on this map. Anyway, yeah, I'll just wait a few minutes so you can get you a cup of tea or your coffee. Hopefully everybody's doing well out there today. It's been a great summer, and hopefully everybody's enjoyed themselves. And maybe you had some Bigfoot sightings over the summer, and you'd like to share those. And again, you can remain anonymous. You don't have to put your name as part of the submission. So we'll get started on this. We've got 33 sightings in the application so far. And yeah, 2 new ones from Kansas, and they're dating back to the 1890s. Oh, actually, there's one 1869, and then there's 1893 in and around Topeka. So if you click on these, there you go. You can actually see them in the map. So let's zoom in. So it's just west of Kansas City. It is in Kansas. So if we click on that report, it's coming from the Glasgow. It must be a newspaper from Kansas, September 8, 1893. Reports that several people have seen a gorilla at night and during the day. Farmers have had calves, a cow, and a horse killed. Other newspaper reports that a gorilla has been in the melon patches causing havoc. Terrible roars and screams and whistles have been made by the animal. Wow. That's pretty awesome. But you will notice back then they described this animal as a gorilla. And I'm thinking, well, yeah, what else would they describe it as? That's the closest animal that you would think, that a Bigfoot would be. Like, that's how you would describe it. I mean, they didn't have the internet and TV back then. So what does it look like? Well, it looks like a monkey or an ape. So here's another one. Let's see how far away they are. We'll measure that distance, miles. So 67 miles away. And again, if you subscribe to the YouTube membership or to our Patreon channel, you will have access to this application. So this is from 1869, September, in the Daily Herald in Iowa. Numerous sightings in the Arcadia Valley in Kansas indicate a gorilla or wildman that has been seen several times in the field and has approached homes. Men have driven it away from the homes, but are unwilling to shoot it because of its human form. Interesting. It has a stooping gait, very long arms, immense hands and claws. It has a hairy face and generally walks on its hind legs. Over 60 settlers gathered to hunt the creature, but it escaped. The locals gave it the name Old Chef. The animal is said to have torn down cattle fences and small outhouses. Other reports from Kansas City a few years later state that 30 miles from town there is a strange animal roaring through the woods. A hideous animal that is half man and half devil and over 7 feet tall. That's in Cedar Creek, Johnson County, 30 miles out of Kansas City. We're looking at Kansas City. Here is Kansas City. And if we look up Johnson County, there it is there. And let's measure from our first one. Yeah, 40, let's say 50 miles and 70 miles from the second one. So they're all pretty close together and within 10 or 20 years of each other. Vocalizations, visuals, basically wreaking havoc and scaring people. But the reports are that they are ape-like creatures, gorillas. So let's have a look at some of this topography. But also, let's look at the BFRO map and see if there's any clusters in and around Kansas, or in and around Kansas City and around Topeka. Okay, so here we are. The red points indicate visual sightings and other evidence, such as Bigfoot footprints and vocalizations, nests. There's Kansas City. Looks like a real cluster of, when you look at this, right through from Kansas City all the way down to Houston. Interesting. Topeka is over to the west. Yeah, you can see there is quite a few sightings in and around Topeka. And these aren't the ones that I had covered previously. Let's just click on one. This one's 1978, July. A youth has a sighting while fishing on the Kansas River near Topeka. 1960, a motorist sighting results in a collision. Well, you can look that up. If you want to go to bfro.net, you can look up Report 1330. That sounds fascinating. There's another one, October 2012. A woman driving at night hits a man-like animal near Mayetta. Wow. Is that 2 collisions? That's really fascinating. Report 38440. If you want to take a look at that, I would recommend, go ahead and take a look at that. But we will look at, let's have a look at Google Maps, and we'll see what this really looks like. It's close to part of Topeka called Quinton Heights. Let's see if we can find this. I mean, we're going back over 100 years, 130 years now. Looks like the river, but it's still a wooded subdivision. Let's have a look, see what we can see here. Looks like there's some Google Street View. There's the water course. Pretty wooded, but I mean, obviously, like I said, back then, they would have been settlers living in this area. And now, pretty developed, really quite developed. So, let's go back to our other map. Let's go back to, going back to the GIS Bigfoot Answers map now. I'll look at this other sighting in Iowa Point. So we're going to flip back again to the Google Maps. Close to Fort Leavenworth, Missouri River. And I guess, look at that. Oh yeah, along the Missouri River, squatchy or what? Right? Look at, that's a huge habitat. What is that thing? What the hell is that nasty thing? Something got run over there. Spectacular anyway. What's going on down here? Looks like the cops are here. No, somebody just pulled over. Maybe they've seen a squatch. Look at that. Vast wetland, really. That's what it looks like to me, with grasslands, vegetation, nice, some woodlands. So that is the Missouri River. Missouri River that is the border between Kansas and Missouri. I'm not too familiar with this. Hopefully everybody's enjoying their cups of tea and cookies. Chilling, right? Everybody's chilling. Hopefully you find this relaxing. Hopefully you're not falling asleep. Anyway, if you become a member, like I mentioned before, of the YouTube channel or the Patreon channel, you can submit your encounter on this form. Basically, it's $5 a month, or you can just view. If you don't want to submit information, you can view the encounters map here. We're also developing other applications for our members. Even just outdoors maps you can use in the field when you're out squatching or you're out hiking, hunting, whatever. These are maps that you can access, and you can, you have these tools that you can use if you have an internet connection on your phone or wireless device. Connection to the internet is required. And yeah, so there you go. Hopefully you enjoyed this, and keep the submissions coming. And if you have ideas on what you want to see, post down below. And yeah, keep the conversations going, guys. Let me know what you think. Hey everyone, here's a sighting from Massachusetts from a viewer. In 1976, my husband and our German Shepherd, we were at the Granville Gorge. We roughed it as always. I'm a Nipmuc Native American, so I was teaching my hubby how to see in the dark. We only had a small oil lantern on. We turned it off. Then we heard this thumping. The smell was very nasty. This creature punched in our tent. My hubby went out and would not answer my whisper. I thought, I'm dead if it killed him. He said, I'm okay. It's just a man-ape-like creature. Bigfoot. We built a huge fire, and that morning he said to me, do you want to stay another night? I said, no, another night in its territory and would be killed, and I have 3 babies to get home to. This was near Granville, near Smithwick, Massachusetts. Pretty cool. Okay, let's have a look at this location. So between Granville and Smithwick? Smithwick, there, yeah. So on this highway, between the two, Granville Gorge, which I believe is right around here along this Granville Road, Highway 57, Munn Brook. So that's the creek, Munn Brook. I do believe the gorge is along here somewhere. Okay. So, yeah, so let's have a look at this. So, looks to be some settlements, some houses along the roads, some of these small subdivisions, but heavily wooded with there's a reservoir, the Granville Reservoir, creeks running within these heavily wooded. Look how green this is. Massachusetts, just beautiful. One of my favorite states. I've been up here in the Berkshire County area. In Chester, I've been there. In October Mountain, I've been there. Very nice. So let's have a look at Google Street View. See what we're looking at here. See what kind of area. So here we are at the Granville Gorge. There's a photo of it. Very nice. Lots of photos. Wow, beautiful, isn't it? Look at this. This is where this was in the area of the sighting. Very nice. Very squatchy, as my friends say. Wow. So let's have a look at the Google Street View. So they're camping in and around here. Looks like it's wooded, as I said, just on the edge of some few houses scattered throughout the woods. We're into the wooded area here and very densely wooded along the Munn Brook. Yeah, so they have it. Thanks for submitting that encounter, and keep them coming. And we appreciate all your support. Thanks a lot. Hey everyone, hopefully you're all doing well out there. Welcome to another episode of GIS Bigfoot Answers. The Bigfoot Encounters map is filling up nicely. Thanks to everybody for filling in your reports and submitting your accounts. And you can do that at the Patreon page. There'll be a link on how to do that in the description. So let's get stuck into this. So right away, we'll be looking at Utah. And there's a sighting in the Kuberent Basin. Kuberent Lake, the closest town is Samak, Utah. And this is in 1977. Just going to zoom in on this Kuberent Lake. Change the base map. Look at let's have a look at the satellite imagery. You can see the mountains around the lake. So Mount Marcel is south of this lake. It looks like there's mountains and there's lakes within the basins of these of the mountains. So pretty cool. So let's have a look at this sighting. So there's a visual sighting by 8 people, 8 hikers. Report seeing a Bigfoot-like creature in the Kubrant Basin. They reported to the conservation officers, who looked for the creature on horseback. They said that they wouldn't harm the creature, but just tried to get photos. And this was reported in the Carlsbad Current Argus, September 1st, 1977. So that's a newspaper. Let's go back and have a look at the imagery. So snow in the mountains. Looks like, yeah, I mean, this would be fantastic for hiking. Doesn't seem to be many roads. There's a road over here, route 150. You might have to hike in a few kilometers, perhaps go camping in some of these areas. Forested around the lakes. It looks like there's some open bare earth. So let's have a look at the Google Maps. Let's see what we can see. I doubt there's any Google Street View, as there's no streets here, but we might find a few photos. Again, please subscribe to the channel if you enjoy these videos, and like the video. That really helps us when you click the like button and subscribe. We're well over 1,000 subscribers right now. Thanks to everybody who's subscribed and liked the videos. So flipped over to Google Maps, and let's see if there's any roads. Well, there is on 150, there's a street view, but there's some photos at this Kubrant Lake. Let's have a look. Oh, wow. Yeah. So kind of like, oh, there's somebody camping. Yeah. So maybe it's some crown land, a forest that you can camp in. This is the lake, kind of like a small lake, but you can see the forest around the lake, and then some bare rock up in towards the mountains. Okay, so let's have a look. Some more photos. The north end of the lake. Oh, wow, isn't that beautiful? Look how clear the water is. Yeah, this is really squatchy. You can see a Sasquatch coming out of the woods there, or up on the mountain, on the ridge. It's a nice grassed area there. It'll be good for camping, if that is public land. If it's not, stay off. Beautiful. People like just dipping their feet in the lake. What a wonderful lake. It's really nice. Very nice. What about this Mount Marcel? Let's have a look at this. Bunch of photos here. Wow. Yeah, this is some people hiking. How clear the lake is. Very nice. And then look at this in winter. Beautiful. Some snow as you get up in the mountains. Let's flip back to, let's see how far you would have to hike in. Maybe there's these roads end up here. Yeah, it's a couple of miles to hike in. And if you do so, you do it at your own risk, and you'd need permission to go on these lands. You're going to camp on these lands. Yeah, so it's at least a 2-mile hike into this lake. I'm assuming there's trails in here. Look like there was hiking trails. So just a beautiful spot. And again, 8 people witnessed this, and it was reported to conservation officers. So there you go. There's a quick encounter. Hopefully you enjoyed this. If you did, please subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you again. Thanks. Hey everyone, welcome to GIS Bigfoot Answers. Today we're looking at the GIS Bigfoot Answers Encounters GIS map, and we'll be looking at a sighting in Florida. And this is the map. You can zoom in and zoom out, and you can have a look at some of the encounters by clicking on them. And so we're going to be looking at Florida. And this is one of the best sightings, one of the best encounters, one of the best reports that I've ever come across, to tell you the truth. And it was submitted by a patron. And again, that's how you submit your encounters. You sign up for the Patreon page, and then you have access to this application. You can enter in your encounters. So here we go. And this encounter takes place in the Everglades. And the closest location, the closest town is Hialeah Gardens, Florida. It's a visual sighting, January 10th, 1979. So it's way back, and this is reported by a patron who saw this account in the newspaper. So there's a report that a motorist hit a skunk ape on the highway, Highway 27. The driver says it was shortly after midnight, and the creature jumped out on the highway. He hit it with his car, and he said at first he thought it was a naked man with black fur. He hit it on the leg with his right fender. It didn't make a sound. It was hairy, 7 to 8 feet tall, so it's not a man. The driver stopped to call police. 3 hours later, a separate motorist called to say they saw a 7 to 8 foot creature limping on the highway, and the highway is US 27. This is 7 miles south of the first incident. Completely separate motorists, didn't know each other, not related, completely unattached at all. So there was an officer on scene. He saw a shadowy, dark thing crashing into the woods. It looked like a man about 8 feet tall. A police helicopter search turned up nothing, only a trampled area of brush. So here you go. You've got 3 separate witnesses. One of them is a police officer. They're not related. Everything seems to tie into a Bigfoot or a skunk ape, as they call it, in Florida. So the description was a naked man with fur. And all of the witnesses say 7 to 8 feet tall. And they say a dark, black man with hair. Wow. So let's have a look to see where exactly this is. Highway 27. So we got Coral Springs, Weston, Fort Lauderdale, and Hollywood, Florida. So between that and Bean City, or Belgrade, Highway 27. Let's have a look at the satellite imagery. Pretty swampy. Not much there, is there? Obviously. There is, just at the edge of the Everglades, you have a lot of farming. There should be lots of water and potentially, maybe lots of fruit and vegetables to eat. And who knows what's in the Everglades? Who knows? Maybe if you want to post down below, what would a Sasquatch eat in the Everglades? What would they get to eat there? So let's have a flip over to Google Street View. And this is the Highway 27, or Florida 27. Really, really flat, obviously. You don't see much in the way of woodlands or vegetation, or at least high vegetation. The vegetation is low to the ground, quite low. But dense no matter what. Swampland. There you have it, one of the best encounters I've come across. 3 witnesses, unrelated to each other. The first guy hits something in the road on the highway, loses sight of it, calls the cops. Then there's another sighting 7 miles south by another witness saying that they see an 8-foot creature limping on the highway. And then the cops show up and the officer sees creature 8 feet tall running off into the woods. So really, I mean, this is like one of the best sighting reports, and I really appreciate the person who submitted this report to us. It's really fascinating, and thank you so much. You know, if other people have their encounters and they want to report them, you can sign up for the Patreon page and report them there, or you can post down below in the messages down below, and perhaps we might take a look at your encounter. Thanks for all the feedback on the YouTube channel. It's been really, really great. People have left some really kind comments, and I appreciate that. And we're now over 1,000 subscribers, so I appreciate all your support. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of GIS Answers. Today what we'll be looking at is Alert Bay, BC, Canada, so British Columbia, Canada. And this is an island just off of Vancouver Island. And what we have in the red crosses are sightings. And yeah, we've got the world imagery as a backdrop, satellite imagery behind. For reference, here's Seattle in the United States. And obviously north is Canada. And this island is Vancouver Island, and quite a hotspot for Bigfoot sightings in Canada, believed to be some of the best habitat for Sasquatch to live. Very wooded, lots of vegetation, potentially lots of food to eat, and the climate and the water to sustain a Bigfoot. Alert Bay is right in here. And what I'm going to show is a video from CTV News, and the local residents here have had some sightings as well as some audio of what they think is a Sasquatch.
A community off northern Vancouver Island is at the center of an eerie mystery. People in Alert Bay say they've been hearing strange screams and howls from the forest at night. And the legend of the Sasquatch runs deep in their First Nations culture. As CTV's Gord Kurbis reports, some are now wondering if those legends are real.
It's an eerie recording captured on a cell phone of something that's making strange howling noises heard throughout Alert Bay.
We heard it once, and I didn't get the recording. And then second time, I got the recording. And that's it was on the back porch. Very eerie.
The audio was recorded just recently on the backside of Cormorant Island. It's been heard by many all over the island.
So flipping back to the map, Cormorant Island and Alert Bay would be the town or the village. Let's have a look at this. This island, approximately 2.5 miles long, not very wide, only a mile wide at the most. So it's not a very big island. The ocean, this channel, only, less than 2 miles on either side. If the residents are hearing, let's have a look at this, there's another larger island to the north, which is 14 miles long. But then you have Vancouver Island on the other side. So audio, vocalizations would travel. If they're that loud, they could potentially travel across water quite easily on a calm day or a calm night. You could see how those vocalizations could travel many miles. So perhaps the audio, the sounds were coming from Vancouver Island, possibly, or maybe there is actually a Bigfoot on Cormorant Island in Alert Bay. So it's really, really wooded between the town and the ocean. So it would be quite wooded. Just a small village really, but there is an airport, a small airport. They've got quite an infrastructure here, community health care, schools, churches, a harbor. So it sounds like a really, really nice place. And let's go back and finish off the video.
I've heard it 3 times. I've heard it scream 3 times. But it's been coming here for years.
Whatever's been making the noise is heard primarily at night. Some say it's a dog, but others say that's impossible.
With that volume, absolutely nothing. No dog can make that kind of a noise with that volume.
Art Dick hears the vocalizations just outside of his home. He's convinced the calls are from a Sasquatch. He believes the creature is real because of several previous encounters, like several years ago on a remote island further south when a tree was thrown at himself and fellow clam diggers.
Pulled the tree right out of the ground. The branches were still on it. I don't know anything that can just literally pull a tree with roots and all. I mean, you know, you see the little alder growing out there. You try to go and pull it out, you're not going to be able to do it.
So, there you have it. Yeah, so there's a few sightings in the database, the BFRO database, probably like 40 miles away from each. Let's just have a look at them. 1992, memory told of an inquisitive Sasquatch sighted near Port Hardy. March 2013, seasoned outdoors couple hear possible vocalizations while gathering firewood. And then further south, yeah, lots of sightings down in the southern part of Vancouver Island, down by Nanaimo. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to the channel and like the video. Thanks a lot. Bye.